everyone, and welcome back to the Nature Cure Summit. I'm so excited to have you here. And this week we are talking about that everything you need to grow, heal, and thrive can be found in nature, in the universe, and within yourself, not in a lab. So I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and I've been bringing you experts from all over the globe through all different modalities to talk to us about harnessing the power of nature to really optimize your health and healing. So today I'm super excited to have Talya with us from Talya's Kitchen, and she is an Ayurvedic practitioner, nutritionist, yogi, all around the board. She's an author, she writes cookbooks. So Talya, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle.
You are all over the place as far as really having your hands in so many different ways to help people heal and to really harness the power of nature and the planet to do so. So can you tell us first a little bit about the type of nutrition and medicine you practice? I know it's a tongue twister of a word, even for me sometimes. So if you can tell us what Ayurvedic medicine is and specifically nutrition that you focus on and how it applies to using nature to heal.
Okay, sure, yeah. So Ayurveda is the Indian holistic healthcare system, and it's considered a sister science to Chinese medicine. So it's rooted in the 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, earth. And the whole, like, people who have heard of Ayurveda, they will have heard these words: dosha, which is like the word for, oh, what's my body type, or what's my tendency in life, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And then the 3 doshas in Ayurveda are comprised of those 5 elements, but they're broken down into 3 categories: vata, pitta, and kapha. So most people will have heard, I call it like the language of Ayurveda.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of cool. And we learned a little bit about each of these healing modalities when I was in naturopathic medicine school. And the cool thing about Ayurveda is it's like one of the oldest, like it's considered one of the oldest forms of medicine, like over 3,000 years old, which is really kind of cool that it's kind of the root of what a lot of different other branches and modalities came off of. Very cool. Yeah, I know most people probably have heard those 3 terms, but maybe we could expand on that a little bit later. But first, I'm interested in how you got interested in this. Do you have a Indian heritage, or what's your story?
That's funny. I feel like a wannabe, like an Indian poser, because I love everything Indian. And when my first trip to India was in 2007, I just felt, I've been practicing yoga since 1993. Okay. And my yoga teacher, one of my yoga teachers, he held this really big festival in the Bay Area where yoga teachers of the Iyengar tradition came from all over the world to teach for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. It was so profound. Like, I had studied, but somehow being in that network, it was so profound. And there was a ceremony for Mr. Iyengar, who's he's the founder of Iyengar Yoga, because he couldn't be present. Like, he wasn't, maybe not traveling anymore at that point, I'm not sure. But it was like a full body experience of, I have to go to India.
Oh, awesome.
I've been 3 times now for extended periods each time. And it's just my favorite place. And I am Jewish. And it's funny because one of my mom's, Jewish friends, she's like, well, Jewish, Indian, like, she was like, what's the difference?
I don't totally get, but she does the same thing. She's like, Jewish, Italian, we're all kind of similar.
Yeah. So maybe I was Indian in a past life. I don't know.
Awesome. On your first trip to India, were you just into the yoga aspect of it and then you branched out once you were there, or were you already studying?
Well, I went to study yoga for sure. It's my passion, just my personal practice passion. Right. But no, I also sought out an Ayurvedic teacher. I was already an Ayurvedic practitioner at that point. And I wanted to learn even more. So I ended up, I found a guy, he had like a sign out in front of like a convenience grocery store in a pretty touristy part of Western India. And he was amazing. Wow. He was here for like, I studied with him every day for 2 weeks and all day, every day. It was just so profound. It's such a deep and vast science.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I love about Ayurveda, speaking of like how everything you need really is just in nature, almost everything you need is in your kitchen. The
That's
Ayurvedic
awesome.
medicine, there's just so much that we can do from the plants that are naturally growing in your garden or even as weeds, spices that you can get at the grocery store. So there's a lot to it, but I don't know if I'm answering your
Yeah,
question. I
you are. Well, I guess one of the
think
things I'm interested in is like what brought you to this
okay,
career. Like, did you have your own health struggle, or was there someone in your family that you were trying to help?
yeah, both,
Okay.
both. So, I mean, when I went to become a yoga teacher, I was at my yoga teacher training, and it was very much it was such a big deal that I was there. This was 2001. I was in my late 20s, and I was like, what? I know I need to figure out what I'm meant to do here. Like, I was really looking for my purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and I was struggling. Like, I didn't know what to do with my life. I was a waitress, and I kept going to the career center and not finding anything, right?
Right.
But I did find a book called Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow. And
Oh,
so I was like,
nice.
oh, I love yoga. So I went to become a yoga teacher, and at that training broke out in psoriasis all over my body. I mean,
Wow.
super intense, super intense. And literally like one day just waking up. So, I think of that as the wounded healer archetype
Mm-hmm.
because I had just stepped into something that I felt was going to take me into my power in this world,
Mm-hmm.
as a service to myself and others
Right.
happened. And so in my search for holistic healthcare to heal my own skin, I never got a regular period. And, that had been right over 15
Yeah.
years of not getting regular period. Emotionally, I was all over the place. I was freezing. I was off.
Wow, that's really interesting that you say all that because a lot of times, like people listening are probably envisioning like someone who's a yoga teacher as like so zen and everything's together and everything's balanced, but it's not always the case, right? You're seeking that and you're
Oh, yeah.
studying and learning, and we're all so much a work in progress that I think it's really important to point that out to people listening.
Yeah, and I think, if a yoga teacher is presenting as like, I've got it all together, I wouldn't go to that teacher. No, I want to go to a teacher who's like been through something and who,
Right.
who can relate to, the struggles of their students. And
Yeah. No, it's so important for any healer really to be able to have that grounding and understanding of the pain and the struggle. So
and it wouldn't be real, right? I mean, somebody who's
right.
like, I just got it all together and everything's easy for me. It's like, really?
Oh,
One of my teachers would say, well, roll up your sticky mat, you're done. You
that's so funny. That's
go day.
awesome.
Um, but yeah, so I found I was seeing all different types of alternative practitioners, mainly because I knew that if I went to Western medicine with any degree of psoriasis, which is an autoimmune disorder that shows up in the skin, I knew that the main thing that they had to give you was steroids.
Right.
And that's basically it. They don't give you any, I mean, I hadn't received any nutritional guidance or anything.
Yeah.
And even they'll be like, we don't know what causes this. We have no cure. This is the best we can give you, is something to cover up the symptoms. And I just didn't want that. I knew intuitively, even if I didn't understand it intellectually, that this was about something much bigger. And so after 3 months or so of seeking different practitioners, I found my Ayurvedic teacher, Deanna Batdorf, at a Health and Harmony Festival in Santa Rosa, California. And I was just so drawn to her. Like there was just something about her Indian booth, right? Her booth was like Indian-ish, and I hadn't even been to India yet.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, like a moth to a flame. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. And
And then,
I think it's funny because sometimes these signals are in our life and these messages are coming to us, but sometimes if we're so busy in our day-to-day, we miss them. And it's great that you were able to be open enough to see these signals.
Well, it was in my face.
Yeah.
I mean, I had psoriasis on my face.
Oh,
wow. Like it was like spreading.
Yeah, very cool. No, I mean to be able to really see at the time that Booth was there and the teacher was there.
Sure.
Instead of just being caught up in your own, I can't go out because I look this way, or really opening yourself up to possibility and the energy of what she was giving out. So that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So other than like psoriasis, what other kind of conditions or health struggles do you work with?
Well, I mean, Ayurveda is very, very powerful because its two main remedies are self-awareness. Mm-hmm. So becoming aware of like, how do I feel? Am I hot, cold, wet, dry, light, heavy, anxious, depressed, angry? Like, let me try to identify what elements are showing up in just how I feel. Okay. So that's number one, is like tuning in. Mm-hmm. And then the second, like right there, primary remedy is what you're going to do about it with your food. So it directly affects digestion, which is really the gateway to healing, in my opinion, everything, including hormonal imbalances, all sorts of digestive disorders, all sorts of autoimmune disorders. I mean, almost anything you can think of can be treated through Ayurveda, but the primary system that we aim to regulate before we regulate anything else is the digestive system. Super. And so that's why I lead Ayurvedic cleanse programs, seasonal cleanse programs, because it's like that is so foundational to any other work that we're going to do.
Yeah, we see that in our practice all the time. People come with just a laundry list of different symptoms that are going on, but when we get right down to it, there's always a digestive, either intestinal permeability, microbiome imbalance. There's something going on in that root, the center of the body, that is really stemming out. It's hard to say with the chicken and the egg syndrome, like what came first, but there's always something there. So I think that's great that you guys focus on that first, because it really is a starting point for health,
Yeah, and emotional too. Like we eat, a lot of times we're eating emotionally. And so to just have that awareness and kind of dial it back and give yourself more compassion and self-care and self-love, and be like, okay, when I'm in my practice of really being self-aware and noticing these emotions come up, then Ayurveda is offering, it's not saying like you shouldn't eat, or, don't eat if you feel emotional, but like giving you all these other choices that could actually shift your emotional state because you feel better after you've eaten. It's all like, it just keeps going back and forth with each other.
So what would be some of the tools that you might use to help someone become more self-aware? Because, in our modern day, we tend to not really take the time to do like a self-inventory and really get in touch with our feelings, where, we just have one task and next. And it's sometimes we don't just sit with ourselves and get in touch with that. And I think that might be hard for a lot of people to do. So do you have some specific tools that you use or
Yeah, I mean, I think it is hard for so many people, and I just feel, that it's the responsibility of practitioners like us who are nature sourced to be like, when you don't listen to yourself, you're not listening to your nature. Yeah. You are nature. So, even just putting your hand on your heart and taking a few deep breaths before you go to emotionally eat, or before you go to eat, whether you're emotional or not, just to be like, am I hot or am I cold? Like, should I have tea with lunch? Or does a salad, like, let me imagine what it's really going to feel like if I eat a salad. Like, it's raining outside. It's going to be cold. Like, I don't want to feel cold. I want to feel warm. It can how long does that? 20 seconds.
That's actually very unique to your style. of nutrition is a lot of people think, okay, a salad, how many calories is it? Salads are healthy, but they're not always right for your
They're
body at the
just in
time.
their mind. Then
Right.
they're just in their mind. It's like, well, I should do this because I read online that that's what you should do.
Right,
I
right.
feel like that checking out and not connecting within. I mean, I don't think we can be truly vibrant and healthy without.
I fully agree. I fully agree because a lot of times I'll get emails from my patients or from my followers and they'll be, is this healthy? Is this food good for me? And it's like that food is a healthy food. Is it right for you right now? That's something that we have to really consider on an individual basis in the individual time of your life, time of the day. You know, all these things are variable, and that's the piece that I think is really hard for people to wrap their heads around and just really grasp it. It's the beautiful piece is when you teach people to listen to their body as you do, it can be so simple, right? It can be so much more
Yes.
simple.
And it's a practice. See, it's not like
Right.
something I've got to figure this out. It's just a practice, and you can get it wrong. You can be like, intuitively, I think I need soup. And then you're like, oh, that was really, it didn't feel good. Or,
Mhm.
you can get it wrong because everything that when you're just making it a practice, everything is just collecting information
Mm-hmm.
and strengthening your own inner understanding of how well you interpret how you feel.
So it's like an ongoing research project
Yes,
with
it
yourself,
is.
right?
It is.
That's really cool because that gives you permission to get it wrong sometimes because that's how you learn, right? It's like we teach children, to try things and we don't expect them to get it perfect every time because that's not
Yeah.
and
And it gives you permission to be flexible.
yeah, yeah,
Like like if you love dessert and you're like and you tune in and you're like all you can think about is dessert, I would be like, how it sounds like you need the dessert. Sounds like you need to have that and see what
right,
it does. And sometimes you'll do it, you'll have it like what in your mind you think is, bad, which I don't do that. I don't do the whole bad, good food.
right.
But you'll do it and then you're like, oh my God, that is exactly what I needed. I needed comfort and I needed satiation and I needed to give myself what I really wanted. Do you see what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
actually
no, that's awesome. So my question is on one of your cleanses that you lead people through, are there no taboo foods or are there no off limit foods or are there some
Oh
guidelines?
no, there are guidelines. We have the toxic 12 for sure of what we're avoiding. And I'm really specific and it's very educational. Like this is why we're avoiding it. But, like, right, I'm also a yoga teacher. And when somebody's brand new to yoga, you don't have that student be like, well, you better get into this pose because you're here and this is what we're doing. It's like you invite the student to meet the pose where they're at, right? And so when
That's
people
huge.
come to my cleanses, I'm like, look, you've got to meet this cleanse where you're at. You've got to do it. You're just going to do what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people repeat with me over and over again because they're seasonal. And
Mm-hmm.
every season is like, we're dancing with the different
Yeah.
elemental constitution of the season. And some of my cleansers, it's so inspiring. Like they kind of, they'll do like even like 6 or 8 of the cleanses. And then
Right.
they're writing me emails of just like, I feel so amazing. Like this has just
Wow.
gotten easier and easier. More and more, this is now how I live my life because
Mhm.
it's not also when you're approaching even something like when we think of cleansing, I think a lot of people think of deprivation.
Right. Yeah. Or poop, drinking like some
Or yeah,
maximum it's gonna make you go to the bathroom. Yeah.
yeah, running to the bathroom, like being like, I can't do it while I work. And that's not at all the case when you're approaching, just like clearing and nourishing your body with Ayurveda. So it is a lifestyle, really, way of approaching
Yeah.
food.
And I think it does teach you how to what your body really craves and needs in a way that it would be great to repeat it because you learn each time and as you do it more and more. Even like all my education, I'm still learning what my body needs, and it
Oh, yeah.
changes as I get older, as I have different times in a month and different times of the year, as we go to different environments. Now we're in Vermont, where it's a lot colder, whereas we were in California last year. So yeah, there are completely different needs, and learning to really welcome that and understand that, I think is such a huge part of health. And when we talk about nature, like nature's constantly changing, and the ecosystems need different things at different times of the year. So I think it fits beautifully with really corresponding with nature, because we are part of nature, we are part of the universe. So I think it's a beautiful thing.
And like I think of if you I think about this with with cleansing, and I also think about this with like receiving body work now and then, or with consistency. Like you wouldn't not take your car in for an oil change. Like you need to flush the fluids, you need to lubricate the hinges, and we have to do that. We really do need to do that for longevity and feeling good for the long term. Like I was just at a Pilates class that I don't usually go to, and for sure I was the youngest person, but I mean I'm in my mid 40s, and the teacher asked, Talya, how are you doing? And I said, oh, this feels so good. And one of the other women laughed, and she said, she's like, oh, well, wait 40 years. It's not going to feel good. I'm like, oh, they think I'm in my 20s.
Right.
Like 40 years. But also I'm like, that's not accurate. It could still feel good to me in 40 years if I'm really, nourishing myself.
Yeah, I went to a yoga class recently where the teacher was 82 years old, and you would never know it. So
love it. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so it's just a testament to really learning to be with your body and give it what it needs. It will give back to you for many years to come. So I think it's for sure right. So Talya, so you also have some cookbooks that you've published, and so are those along the principles of the cleanse, or going deeper? People can do those year round.
Oh yeah, they're separate. I have in 2005 I self-published a cookbook, and it's just a great little Ayurvedic cookbook. It's super sweet. People have to get it directly from my website. It's like not for sale on Amazon or anything.
That's talyaskitchen.com, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put a link to that as well.
Cool. And I wrote a vegan, like some of those recipes do include meat and dairy. And then I wrote a vegan version of each recipe. So that book, like, anyone can use it. And then in 2012, I published the Ayurvedic Vegan Kitchen. So that's a totally vegan cookbook, and it's one of my favorite cookbooks. I use it all the time. I mean, it sounds funny to say that, but I just love that book. And then last year I self-published just a sweet little, 47 holiday desserts you can feel good about eating.
Wow, that's awesome. I know a lot of my patients would love to get their hands on that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And then the free gift, I'm offering a free gift to all of your listeners today, and that's the first couple chapters from the Ayurvedic Vegan Kitchen. So
nice.
So it's actually going to go into detail more about what is Ayurvedic nutrition, what are the doshas, and helping people start to identify just a little bit about each dosha and maybe where they see themselves relating to the dosha.
That's really cool. That's a great gift, and there's some recipes in there as well.
Well, I think there's definitely recipes in the book, but I think it's just like the first 2 or 3 chapters.
Like the introduction to it, so people
more like the Ayurvedic education to see if it's something, that you resonate with. Yeah.
That's perfect. And then your website again is talyaskitchen.com, and they can find all your offerings on there and get in touch with you. Awesome. Well, this has been really refreshing and informational. I love I've spoken with a few different practitioners who's all focused the flexibility and the really listening to your body. And I think that's refreshing in a world where there's so many like do this, don't do that kind of rules to health and wellness. And we're really flexible metamorphosizing, changing human beings. And I think that it's beautiful that this message is being put out. So thank you so much for being
Good
here.
for you. You're putting it out there.
Oh, we're all doing it together. It's a collective movement.
Awesome.
Yeah, with the universe and the listeners too. You guys are all helping this movement go forward. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you go check out Talya's Kitchen and download the free gift, because that's going to be an amazing asset to your health and well-being. So thanks again for being here, you guys. I really had a great time today. Thank you, Talya, so much. You've been so refreshing and so adorable, and I love your energy and spunk. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Michelle. You too.
Okay, have a great one, guys. We'll be back here tomorrow with another practitioner and some more natural healing. So have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Hey there, it's Dr. Michelle, and I just wanted to commend you and thank you for spending a little bit of your day to do something empowering. I hope that you found value in today's content and that you'll go out and use this new information to improve your life, even in a small way. I want you to open up to the possibility of making today, this week, and this year the greatest possibility you've had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of old paradigms. It is about learning the act of living naturally. It's about honoring who you are and allowing all that is good into your life. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body you dream about, but more importantly, help you live the life you deserve. Remember, all that you need, you already have. It's right here, in nature and within yourself. So stay tuned for some more value-packed interviews, and be sure to check out all of the resources at glownaturalmedicine.com.